What's up, everybody? This is Trent with Southeast Pit Report. We're hanging out here with Mark from Periphery. Just give an introduction to yourself and what you do in the band for someone who doesn't know you guys yet and happens to stumble upon you.
Yeah, I play guitar, and we're Periphery, progressive metal band, play lots of different 6, 7, 8-string guitars, and play really nerdy metal music.
Awesome. Yeah, speaking of the nerdy style and stuff, how much, in the writing process, how much of that do you guys sit down and discuss in terms of like music, time signatures, and different patterns and stuff as...
To be honest, when it comes down to time signatures and creating funky rhythms and things like that, there's not a deliberate effort made on that end to really make our music complicated.
Mm-hmm.
It's as simple as liking what we like. We like music that sounds like this, so we try and write in that style. And we all do it. It comes very naturally to us. We never talk from a high level about the type of music that we're going to write. We always just kind of put it out there and shape it the way we want to shape it and tweak it, and that goes for all 6 members. You know, our band's a democracy, so we're always shooting opinions back and forth. But we never have these sort of bird's eye view conversations where we're like, the album needs to sound like this, or this song needs to sound like this, or this song's gonna be our hit, this song's gonna be our thrash song. It's gonna, you know, there's never any conversations like that. It's more sort of us just doing what comes naturally to us, and then letting the quality control processes kick in, and then sort of mold the best song we possibly can. Now,
you guys have been around for a while now, so how is the evolution from your first record all the way up through the new project you are releasing now, Juggernaut, correct?
Yeah, Juggernaut, two albums.
2 albums, yeah. What is the whole evolution of that writing process and creativity process, and how did that whole idea of a concept of releasing 2 albums come to be?
Well, I mean, the way we write as a band has changed drastically over the years. Even before I was in the band, years ago, Misha was the sole creative member of the band, the sole creative contributor, and he would write most of the music. That's evolved over the years, over Periphery 2, our last album, and now to Juggernaut, Alpha and Omega. It's completely 180. This band has turned into a complete democracy in terms of opinions, critique, and mainly writing contributions. So it's completely different. The term Juggernaut has been in our sort of vernacular for years now. Older fans of the band will remember hearing the term Juggernaut thrown around, and it's evolved very, very drastically from what it's become. But it's always been this idea of a concept album. It's always been this goal of ours in our head. We got to do a concept album, full story and everything. And what it ended up becoming was very different than what was conceived initially. The 2 album thing sort of came out of nowhere as well. We had way too much material to fit on one album. The story was something that Spencer wrote from the ground up. The story was never something that we had in our heads years ago and said, we need to do this and have a character who went through all these changes. No, it was very sort of broad view of what we wanted to do. We need to write a concept album, story. Normally we're used to writing songs that sort of are strong enough to stand on their own, sort of be viewed as these individual songs, just pieces of media. But for this, we wanted to have a big overarching narrative that you could appreciate the songs for one piece of media, but then you could digest it. It's meant to be digested as one big album. So the Juggernaut term has been around in our band for years, but only recently has it become this double album, very specific story.
Now, Alpha Omega means beginning and end. So is there what can you tell us from the story from the beginning to the end? Is there the overall, I guess, concept of what that means in terms of what you're writing about?
Right. There's two albums, like I said earlier, because we couldn't fit music on one disc. But there's also a very clear-cut change in the story, and I don't want to give too much away when it comes to the story. I think we're all waiting to sort of see how people perceive it once the music comes out. And Spencer, when he was writing the story, he was very personal, even with us. He was very sort of sheltered and closed off when it came to sharing details about the story.
Oh, wow.
I thought that was very cool. It was kind of exciting for me.
Yeah.
And then when he finally revealed to us what it was about, we started to sort of apply the lyrics to the music and then shape the music to fit the lyrics, and then order the track listing according to the lyrics, which was a very difficult process. But Alpha and Omega, for us, the sort of the terms that are used to differentiate the albums, like you said, I mean, to call it basically 1 and 2. But there is a sort of big drastic difference between the plot in the first one and the plot in the second one. There's an evolution of the character that happens that sort of splits the 2 albums.
Okay. And so these going to be released on the same day? Is there going to be like is part one, you know, like a movie thing? Part one comes out this month, and then like the next part comes out another month, or are they on the same day, kind of double disc edition, or separate? Or
well, we received a lot of pressure to do actually both ways. So I put out Juggernaut Alpha on the 27th of January, and then put out Omega a couple months later. Or we had the idea of packaging them together, doing a double album, sort of the classic method of putting together a double album. But we wanted to do something, stir the pot a little bit, like put out. So how it's going down is we're putting out both albums on the same day.
Okay.
And they're each their own album. We're bundling together the albums on our website, so our own merch store. But if I have it correctly, and I'm not 100% sure on this, so don't take my word on it, is they're going to be available together in stores, but you can also buy them as one album a piece.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, sort of like Guns N' Roses' Use Your Illusion 1 and 2, that model release. So we'll see how it goes.
Okay.
Yeah.
In terms of that, you said it's like a big story kind of thing. It's probably the biggest thing you guys have done so far musically. Are you guys on plan on expanding on that in terms of story? Maybe like possible short films in terms of music videos, with have actual like character development visually as well as what's in the music story.
Right. We have some stuff in the works. I can't spoil it so far. There's a music video that we're working on. Okay. And there's some other sort of peripheral media that we're working on to go with the Juggernaut release. Honestly, a lot of it depends on how it's released and perceived. Okay. Because if it comes out and people think it's the worst thing they've ever heard, maybe we won't pursue these other avenues. But if it comes out and everyone likes it, maybe we'll play the album in its entirety, or play the albums in their entirety one day, or explore that further. Okay. But I mean, we'll see. We kind of just want it to come out already.
All right.
It's coming out in 2 weeks, and first we're playing 6 songs tonight from Juggernaut.
Oh wow.
So we're coming out hard and heavy.
Are they all from one album? Are they like 3 from
split
one?
Evenly.
Okay.
I think it's 3 and 3, or 4 and 2 or something. Yeah.
Okay.
6 songs. But it's funny to see the reactions of people. At our shows, we're accustomed to seeing the crowd just go crazy, every song. But some of these songs, people are just like watching more than they're reacting. Yeah. Which at first I was disappointed. I was like, I guess they're not really into these songs. But then when you remember that they don't really know the songs, they're kind of just listening and take it in, just like you sit there and listen to a song for the first time. You're listening, you're not moshing all over the place. So I think that's a very natural reaction for some people to hear these songs for the first time. Now,
talking about this tour, it's a probably one of the most diverse tours in terms of the kinds of bands. You've had Nothing More, whose vocalist has been compared to Spencer, actually, when they were first getting out on the internet and stuff this past year. And, they've done the whole, radio rock festivals. They've been on the radio, Love and War, a lot of people know the story with those guys, how they came together. You got this new band, Thank You Scientists, and you guys. So how did this whole, conglomerate of different bands come together for you guys to play with?
Historically, we always like to mix it up a little bit. I'm not a fan of tours where it's just 5 of the same bands. It gets fatiguing because by the time you watch the 5th band, you've already heard all of that for hours. So just historically and as a culture in our band, we like to mix things up stylistically for these tours. But with this one, I agree with you. It's the most diverse tour we've ever done and put together. And a lot of it had to do with, we look at these bands, we look at what Nothing More are doing, we look at what Wovenmore is doing. Thank you, Scientists. They're all excelling in their own very specific genres. We all play rock, metal, whatever you want to call it. But these bands are doing really cool, unique things that people are noticing. But they're doing it in their own little genres, which we wanted to achieve that when it came to the bill. And the result of that is getting fans from each band noticing these different bands who maybe they wouldn't go out and see. Wovenmore fan in particular, or hell, even some of our fans, they would hear Thank You Scientist and they wouldn't know what to think. But maybe seeing it live, you would walk away with something. They're one of those bands, and then that's kind of the goal with all of this, is just to get these fans from extremely different fronts, to get them to notice other bands from very, very, very drastically different fronts. So we'll see if it works.
All right. And we talked about a little this before the interview. You guys are Sumerian, correct? Recently, it's come to light some things that have happened with a band that was supposedly supposed to be signed to them in terms of, I guess, entitlement issues, thinking they deserve more. How's Sumerian been to you guys, and what do you think about these younger bands coming up who feel like they should be entitled to what they want, per se?
Well, I think that's a death wish. If that's the attitude you have coming out of the gate, feeling entitled and feeling like you're deserving of something, sure, we all get it. You play a lot of shows, you get in a van, and you play a lot of shows, and you do it yourself. for years. But if you are a hardworking band, regardless, and you still think you're deserving of some level of success or entitlement, that will solve nothing. You really have to go out there and bust your ass and act like you're undeserving of anything. And that's what people notice. That people the powers that be, they don't look at bands like that and think twice about them. You really have to get their attention, and feeling like you're entitled and behaving that way will get you nowhere in this business. And those bands are weeded out very quickly, and you notice that. And take for instance the bands on this tour or any other tour we've done. Very few of them, and I'm talking a very small percentage of them, act entitled or act even successful. They
even like a band like Nothing More, who had songs on the radio,
right.
Like and no ego whatsoever about it.
The looks of them as professionals and as people, you maybe wouldn't even think twice that they're successful.
Yeah.
But that's exactly the mentality you're supposed to have. That's the mentality that you need to have in order to keep climbing. And I'm not specifically familiar with the situation you're talking about. But if that's the case, if the band's flapping their drums about being entitled or deserving more, that mentality will get you nothing in this business, and it will weed you out very quickly. But to answer your question about Sumerian, they've been always great to us since the start. A role that some record labels have is to sometimes step into the artistic, the creative side, and sort of have some say in that manner. We're very opinionated. I guess we know what we want. We're an opinionated band in that respect, and from the very beginning, we had an agreement with them that this is who we are, and we do a very specific thing. We do it our way. That being said, give us all the guidance you can. So we get a little bit of both worlds. They sort of throw the ball in our court and let us have our fun, and then they support us the best they can. And since our inception, they've been absolutely phenomenal to us and let us create our nerdy metal.
All right, you guys got any news coming up after this tour or anything before we wrap it up here?
Yeah, we've always got news coming up. We've got a lot of touring coming up this year. As you can imagine, we'll bring out the 2 albums in January, and then we've got a Russia tour. It's like 5 shows in Russia, and then a month in Europe, and then we've got a lot of festivals, U.S. festivals in the late spring, and there will be a lot more touring. There's going to be another tour in I think April or May or something like that, and then we'll be, if you live anywhere where there's shows, we're going to probably be around you. So that's the big thing for this year, is just to get out there and hit the road.
All right, one last thing. Congratulations on your new endorsement. Talk about a little bit about just the name and stuff, like who it is and all that.
So I've been with PRS. It's not such a new endorsement. I've been with PRS for over a year, and we've been developing a prototype guitar for that year, sort of building different versions and speccing things out just the way we want it to be. We finally finished it, and the guitar, my signature model, came out a couple days ago. So
congratulations, man!
Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm playing the guitar tonight. It'll be my main guitar from here on, and it came out really, really cool.
Okay, can't wait to see that. Can't wait to see it at all.
I'm curious to see what the reception is once people start getting their hands on it.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you so much for talking to us today, and looking forward to seeing you guys later. All right, this is Trent with Southeast Pit Report. This is Mark from Periphery.
Sometimes there's a crack in the world.